So hello everybody, my name is Lauren. I am a registered nurse in the state of California as well as a nurse in the UK. So I wanted to talk to you guys and tell you how that all works out, how to become a nurse in a different country, because about a year ago I got my license in the UK and I had no idea what I was getting into when I initially signed up for that process. And I worked out in the UK for about a year. I am now currently back in the state of California, like I said, as an ICU nurse here. But if you are thinking about going abroad, if you know somebody who wants to go abroad and they have no idea what they're getting into, I'm just gonna kind of run through the steps that it took me in order to get that license in the UK. Step number one, if you are looking to be a nurse in the UK, you probably have a little bit of an idea of what you're getting into. Basically, I'm gonna be very realistic with the timeline. It takes roughly a year from start to finish with all the paperwork, all the testing you're gonna be doing. Maybe you can get it done a little bit faster, but it's gonna take you at least 6 months. It took me a year and I was pretty on it with the deadlines. If you're coming already from a European country, it is gonna be faster. You don't have to go through quite as many requirements. But if you're coming from America, trying to get your nursing license in the UK, it will roughly take you about a year. So plan accordingly. So number one, the nursing license there, the nursing body is called the NMC, and that stands for Nursing and Midwifery Council, and that is basically the nursing body of the UK. They divide their nursing departments into four different sections, I guess. So that is adult nursing, mental health nursing, learning disabilities nursing, and pediatric nursing. So when you're applying for your license, you're gonna need to figure out which specialty you wanna go into. Generally, most of you guys are probably gonna be adult nursing, and that includes all departments. So ER, ICU, floor nurse, any kind of thing like that is gonna fall into adult nursing. So you're gonna have to meet the immigration requirements, and that I know can hold up a lot of people. The nursing body is not responsible for taking care of anything with your visa or however you're gonna stay in that country. So you're gonna need to do that separately. There is a huge nursing shortage in the UK. I mean, last year they were short 50,000 nurses. So there are plenty of hospitals that are willing to sponsor you, but it's always a tricky situation because reaching out to a hospital without a license, it's not something they're just gonna jump on with and be able to pay for everything right up front. So make sure you kind of have some idea of how you're gonna stay in that country and then work towards getting your nursing license. Number two, you must have completed at least a 3-year nursing program in the country that you're coming from. It doesn't necessarily say if it has to be a degree or diploma, but you need some sort of 3-year nursing education in order to apply for your nursing license. Number three, you must meet the health requirements. I think this is probably gonna be fine for 99% of the people out there. You do need to just make sure, read through it, make sure that you're healthy and well enough to be a nurse in this country. Number four, English language requirements. This is kind of a tricky one for a lot of people. If you're coming from a country where English is not the main language, you do have to take quite an extensive test in order to pass that. I think you need to get a score of about 70%. They may have lowered it a little bit because of the nursing shortage in the UK. Like I said, I was coming from the US, and even then I still had to provide so many documents to prove that I knew how to speak English, which is crazy because English is the only language I know how to speak, yet I still had to convince them that I knew how to speak English. Once you have done those four requirements, you can kind of move on now and to actually start applying for your license. So the first thing you're gonna need to do, a computer-based test. Hold on, I have it written down here to make sure I don't forget. It's pretty straightforward. What it is it's a theoretical practice-based test. It is 120 multiple choice questions, and you can take it in centers all over the world. So I took it, like I said, I'm from California. I found a testing center pretty close to here where I live, and I was able to just take the 120 questions on the computer. Boom, I was done. The test at the time cost me roughly $300. I'm not sure what it's gonna cost you wherever you are, but that's kind of give you an idea of how much it's gonna cost in the US. You have 3 attempts to take this, and if you do not pass after the 3rd attempt, you have to now wait 6 months in order to restart your entire application. I found the test to be pretty straightforward. I was fortunate enough to pass on the first try. Like I said, it's theoretical practice-based, so I think there are some practice tests online. To be honest, I didn't really look at any of those. I had been taking a lot of tests because I had recently gotten my CCRN, which is like a critical care registered nursing test in the US. So I was pretty used to taking tests at that point, and I felt like it was pretty similar to that. But you can look around and see practice tests. I will tell you though that there is no NMC sponsored practice tests. So all of these people and companies that are giving you tests, they're not actually sponsored by the NMC. So just be, use your own discretion if you're gonna, especially if you're paying money for these practice tests that aren't technically accredited by the NMC. So you passed your CBT, congratulations. You get an email right away. You know if you passed or did not pass right away, right at the testing center. So like I said, I was able to pass that. That was in April of 2018. This is when I first started trying to figure out this nursing license journey. After that, you are now able to submit your documents. And this is where the waiting begins. You have to submit so many documents. For starters, you're gonna need a current passport. You're gonna need your original birth certificate. Original, yes, the original. A nursing license from the country that you're coming from, a police clearance form, which is basically a background check. It'll usually cost you $50 to $100 for a background check. You're gonna need that certificate to upload it to the NMC. You're also gonna need a DBS certificate if you've lived in the UK longer than 3 months. I was doing this all while living in the US, so I did not have to worry about the DBS certificate. But if you are currently living in the UK and now applying for a UK license, you do also need to have that. You're gonna need transcripts from your old nursing school. If you went to other schools doing your prerequisites, you're gonna need those transcripts too. So start collecting all those documents. It's gonna take a little while to get everything together. You're also gonna need a health physical from your practitioner in the area that you live in. Make sure that it is either a doctor or a nurse practitioner. They're a little bit strict about the titles of the people who do the examinations. So make sure you check that before spending money and time and getting examined by somebody who may not count or meet the requirements. The last thing, you're gonna need 2 letters of reference. I asked, they were former employees or employers. So I think I had a nursing manager as well as a doctor that I had worked with. So they're gonna need to fill out the document. It's very straightforward, but you still have to contact them, get their information and get them to fill out a little questionnaire. Once you have all these documents, upload it to your profile as well as send them in. So you need to send certain documents in while you can upload some. Like the letter of references, those have to be sent in from your references. You can't upload them. You have to actually get them to physically mail it to the UK. Once they receive those documents, that's what I'm saying is the waiting begins, right? I sent all my documents like right away. I sent them all in a big pack. The letters of references were technically sent in by my referrals, but those were done within a week of each other. From start to finish, it took over 6 months for that paperwork to get processed. And that was with me calling almost weekly, telling them, hey, what's going on? Are you missing any documents? What can I do to speed this process up? For some reason, the documents were only uploaded and considered validated, I guess, on Mondays. So I don't know if that's like the day and the NMC kind of goes through all these documents they receive in the mail, but for some reason every Monday I would kind of get like, oh, you got another letter of reference, or oh, we see that your background check has been cleared, something like that, right? So it did take, like I said, 6 months from start to finish. So once all of that had been done, so that was going to be around November of 2018, I got a certificate saying I am able to sit for the OSCE. OSCE, what it stands for, is the Objective, Structured, and Clinical Examination. This is kind of a killer, I'm not gonna lie. This test is a hands-on portion. It is the final step to actually getting your license in the UK, and it requires you to be there. You have to be in the UK in order to take this test. So I had just moved in November and I was able to sit for the OSCE. It is expensive. It cost roughly at the time, this is November of 2018, it was a little over 1,200 pounds, so 1,200 pounds to take this test. And that is on top of taking the computer-based test, which I told you in the US cost roughly about $300. So for the OSCE, it is a 6-part examination. It is in person, like I said, fully in English, obviously, and you'll have 3 attempts to pass it. It is now 3 attempts. It used to be 2 attempts when I took the test, but they have recently changed that to 3 attempts. You have a minimum of 10 days in between each sitting in case you do fail to retake the test. So it's 6 parts, and the way that it works is 2 of the parts are gonna be written stations, 4 of the parts are gonna be hands-on. You are guaranteed to have an assessment portion where you do an assessment on an actor, And then you're gonna have a med station where you give medications to, it's a dummy, but they have what are they called? Proctors sitting there and grading you step by step of what you're doing. The last 2 stations are gonna be skills. You can go look on the OSCE, like they break it down and tell you exactly what skills you could be tested on. There's a bunch of them and you'll get 2 of them chosen at random, and those are what you get tested on. So you have to pass the OSCE, obviously, in order to continue on with this process. There are tons of different training facilities that will help you prepare for the OSCE. My advice is to do them. And it's unfortunate that these training facilities are quite expensive, but the OSCE is very particular in how you do things and writing nursing care plans. And based on what country you're coming from, I guarantee you it's not going to be exactly the way that the NMC is looking for. So I initially went in thinking I wouldn't need to do this. I didn't realize how structured this test was. It's not purely based off of just knowledge, but it's based off of understanding the system and the ways that we do things in the UK. Once you pass the OSCE, you are now officially done. You get your PIN number, and you are now a nurse, a registered nurse in the UK. Technically, when you do take the OSCE, you do have to show proof of your original birth certificate as well as a passport. So just make sure you have those documents there, but you have to show that before they let you sit for the OSCE. Now, once you're done with all these steps, you now officially have your PIN number and you are a registered nurse in the UK, meaning you can practice in England, Wales, Northern Ireland, and Scotland. If you want to continue your education there, you know, just as in any other country, I believe you need to continually take continuing education, pay your fees to keep your license active, and that's really it. This is a lot of information at one time, but like I said, am now currently a registered nurse in the state of California, as well as a registered nurse in the UK. So if you have questions, concerns, like anything, let me know, message me. I'd love to try to help you through this journey. It is 100% worth it. Nursing is completely different in both of those countries, even though they both are English speaking and they do have some crossover with the types of practice. I will say the nursing role is quite different in the UK compared to the US. So best of luck with your journey out there and stay persistent. It is worth it to be able to see nursing in different perspectives all over the world.